Good evening and welcome to SDPNoticias right downtown in Mexico City. Let's get started. And let's start with the hard facts about what actually went down in Chihuahua, Mexico. It was just days ago, Sunday, April 19, 2026. Two embassy personnel, that's what they call them, they were killed in a horrific car crash in the mountains of the state of Chihuahua. They were supposedly returning from a raid of sorts on a clandestine meth lab run by that cartel. That's what the government said. Two Mexican state investigators from the state of Chihuahua, they also died in the same car crash, same ravine. At first, the U.S. ambassador to Mexico, we're talking about Ron Johnson, this guy's he's terrible, he's the worst. He put out a statement calling them embassy staff, and they were supposedly doing training work. But this guy, we're talking about a professional liar. This is what he does for a living, professional bullshit. And the mask, Johnson's mask, it's lived real fast. There's now multiple reports, we're talking the Washington Post, New York Times, others, confirming it. These weren't just trainers, they weren't just instructors. They were full-blown CIA officers that were embedded in an anti-drug op with the Mexican forces. And they absolutely, let's be crystal clear about this, they absolutely did not have the proper federal authorization from Mexico City. It's a tragic loss of life, that's no question, not even up for debate. But here's where the real story begins, and it's dripping with unconstitutional overreach and hypocrisy that would make the founding fathers roll in their graves. Now let's fast forward to yesterday. We had the White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt. She steps up to the mic and declares, get this, that President Trump would like some sympathy from Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum over these deaths. Some sympathy, she says. Like Mexico owes the U.S. some kind of, groveling session? Let's take a look at what she said.
I think the president would agree that some sympathy from Claudia Sheinbaum would be well worth it for the two American lives that were lost, considering all that the United States of America is doing currently under this president to stop the scourge of drug trafficking through Mexico to the United States. And we have seen some cooperation from President Sheinbaum. I think the president always wants to see more cooperation when what we are doing is not only a benefit to the American people, but to her people as well, to crack down on these cartels and to remove again the scourge of drug and human trafficking that has flowed through Mexico for far too long and has taken far too many American lives.
Some sympathy is what she said. Karoline Leavitt, Trump's mouthpiece, she's getting the U.S. into a full-blown diplomatic crisis with Mexico. So I just have one simple question for Karoline. Karoline, are you stupid or are you just cynical? That's the only question on anyone's rational mind. As if the Mexican government hadn't already addressed this head on. Sheinbaum, it was her first press conference after the news broke, and she laid it out crystal clear. It was just hours after the news broke. Condolences were issued, solidarity was extended, and human lives, the loss of human lives, it was acknowledged. The Mexican embassy in the US even posted the video clip confirming it, but no, that's not enough for them apparently. They want more. They want some sort of theater out of this? They want Mexico to bend the knee while ignoring the elephant in the room? These CIA spooks, they were operating on Mexican soil in violation of Mexico's constitution, the Magna Carta itself. So let's take a look at what President Claudia Sheinbaum said Monday morning, just hours after the news was confirmed.
Primero, antes que nada, lamentamos el fallecimiento, porque independientemente de cualquier situación, está lo humano y lamentamos este accidente, que hayan fallecido y tienen toda la solidaridad y todo el apoyo del gobierno de México y estamos en contacto con la embajada de los Estados Unidos. Eso es lo primero por encima de todo.
This is fully unconstitutional, at least considering Mexico's constitution. That's where they were operating. That's where they were. They were still subject to Mexico's laws. It's completely illegal. Article 40 of Mexico's constitution and the national security law make it crystal clear. No foreign intelligence agencies or agents can conduct operations inside of Mexico without explicit federal government approval. That's it, period. Not up for debate. It's not just some suggestion. It's the supreme law of the land here in Mexico. And the Mexican military and federal authorities weren't even looped into this raid. Sheinbaum herself, she ordered a full national security investigation into it. She called out the state of Chihuahua, their government. It's actually run by opposition forces. They went rogue with the US personnel behind the Fed's backs. That's fully illegal. From the US government and from Chihuahua's government. This was not some sort of joint training exercise. This was a covert CIA infiltration under the guise of the drug war. That's exactly, precisely, the kind of unconstitutional meddling that could spark a full diplomatic meltdown with our #1 trade partner. Because that's what Mexico is to the US. It's not China. It's not Canada. It's not the European Union. Mexico. Mexico is the US's #1 trading partner. And who's the guy in the middle of this powder keg? It's not just that woman in the press office. No one cares about Carolyn Levitt. Who's Carolyn Levitt? It's none other than the US Ambassador Ronald Johnson himself. He was confirmed in 2025, and this supposed career diplomat shows up in Mexico, and what does he do? He announces the deaths, all nice, all sanitized, calls them embassy personnel like it's no big deal. He tries to keep the CIA connection under wraps until the press forces it out. Johnson's been pushing for years this bullshit about counter narcotics, something like that, in Mexico under Trump for years now. But let's call it like it is. This is a reckless, completely reckless escalation that's treating Mexico like a backyard or a playground of sorts for US intelligence ops. There's no respect for sovereignty, no coordination with the federal government in Mexico City. It's just cowboys from Langley riding shotgun with state-level cops in the Sierra Madre. And now 4 people are dead, including 2 Americans. Johnson should be declared persona non grata and sent back to the US packing for enabling this mess. He's definitely not defending America's interest. He's poking the bear of Mexican nationalism and risking everything. He's not defending Mexico. He's not defending America. So this is just disgusting, and Americans need to wake up. This isn't about fighting cartels. This is the deep state under Trump, or Trump himself, continuing with the same old imperial playbook. You expand the CIA ops south of the border, ignore the Constitution, both Mexico's Constitution and the spirit of the US Constitution, and when it backfires, when you have a crash and dead agents, you demand sympathy? Are you the victim? Meanwhile, Mexico, the US's biggest trading partner, there's billions in stake with the USMCA trade. Supply chains are linked. You have factories humming across the border. One wrong move, one leaked memo about unconstitutional spying, and we've got a trade war. Tariffs flying, the border, it's slammed shut. Economy tanking, both sides of the border. America's economy, Mexico's economy, both of them. Trump ran on something different than this. He ran on America first, not CIA first in Chihuahua. This is precisely the kind of neocon adventurism that got us into endless wars in the Middle East. Now, it's just repackaged. It's a supposed, drug war? It's just a sequel. And Levitt, she's just a mouthpiece. She's reading the script from the globalist handlers who never left the building. They never left the White House. Still the same thing. Think about it. Mexico is fighting its own battles against the cartels, and it's winning. The numbers, they're there. They just don't want to see them. It's been a brutal war, a bloody one. It's claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. And Sheinbaum's government has been clear. Human lives matter. They go first, regardless of whose side. But instead of respecting that, instead of respecting just the law, the Constitution, of going through the proper channels, coordinating with the federal government, the Trump administration is doing something different. They green light shadow ops that violate Mexican law, and then they cry foul when the president doesn't grovel enough. This is how you destroy alliances. This is how you hand the cartels and the globalists a victory by fracturing the US-Mexico relationship at the exact moment that we need strength against fentanyl flows, border chaos, economic threats from China. That's going on. There's no strength in this. This is treason. The hypocrisy is off the charts. Where's the sympathy from Washington? Where's their sympathy? Where's Caroline Levitt's sympathy for the Mexican families torn apart by the cartel every single day? Where's Caroline Levitt's sympathy for the 2 Mexican officers that died? Where's the accountability for past US interventions that flooded the region? They flooded it with guns, with covert operations. They destabilized governments. That went on. Wasn't that long ago? Ronald Johnson, the ambassador, and the whole crew, they need to answer for this and they need to do it publicly in Congress, before the American people, before the Mexican people. We need to demand that they pull back that covert ops, demand that they respect Mexico's sovereignty or risk, because it's a risk, a real one, turning the US's top trade partner into an adversary overnight. So folks, this is bigger than just 2 or 4 dead agents in a ravine. This is the globalists testing the waters. They're trying to push Trump into a corner where he either looks weak or he escalates this into a full crisis. But the truth is out. Sheinbaum showed sympathy. Mexico's investigating the breach. And the ball's now in America's court to stop treating our neighbor like a vassal state. And if we don't wake up now, this sympathy demand, it's gonna snowball. It's gonna snowball into the next big international disaster. Trade's gonna collapse, border wars, and the deep state's gonna be laughing all the way to the bank. Trump's already tried it. How's it going in Iran? Iran's a shit show. Is that what you want south of the border? Do you want to have another Iran just south of the border, just next to Texas? Really? Instability? So how about you, Trump, you fix America's war in Iran first? How about you fix America's addiction problem first? They're all addicted there. You've been to Pennsylvania lately? It's a mess. And how about if you, Trump, you stay the hell out of other countries like you promised during the campaign? The Republic, both republics, they're at stake, north and south of the border.